Hello and welcome everybody to the very first episode of Chalk Talk with your co-hosts Ethan and Ishmael. This channel has been a weirdly long time in the making. So, you're going to be hearing a lot of NFL and college football hot takes, just random opinions, maybe some hate, probably a lot of love for certain teams and players. But my name, again, is Ethan LeGrand. I'm a major New Orleans Saints fan. Got my Chris Olave jersey on here. I'm also a Texas Tech fan for college. Texas Tech alumni, wreck 'em. And then heresy has been committed. I'm a two college sports fan. I'm an LSU fan as well. Obviously, being a Saints fan, a lot of connection between those two. Grew up watching Louisiana sports, just saw a bunch of games for LSU before I ever even thought of going to Texas Tech. But since I graduated from Texas Tech, I gotta rep them all the way. You know, obviously, Texas Tech to the Natty next year. It's happening. And now, why don't you tell them what you're all about?
All right. Yeah, as Ethan mentioned, my name is Ishmael. Call me Ish, whatever. I'm also big Texas Tech fan. Uh, you know, also Falcons fan. Funny enough, how that all worked out and played out. And I'm also just like Ethan, a big UCLA fan. I grew up watching them since I was a kid, really. But when it comes down to it, I'll be repping that red and black. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
All right. So let's go ahead and hop in to the very first topic to kick off the entire channel. So we got which teams will be most improved and which teams will fall off, essentially. So we're going to have the examples that we used for this is playoffs to pick in top 10, pick in top 10 to the playoffs. So that's the general structure we got. And Ish, let's hear what teams you got.
Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna start with my fallen off teams first. I think that the team that really fell off the most got to be the Steelers. After signing DK Metcalf to that payment of a deal of 5 years, 150 mil, uh, and then all that just to trade George Pickens later on. Was definitely interesting. You don't have a good option at wide receiver too. I mean, you got Roman Wilson, didn't really log any stats, just played one game. You got Robert Woods, who's decently old, kind of washed in my opinion. You got Calvin Austin, who's just not good, and then you got Scotty Miller, who's just really your special teamer, speedy guy. Maybe use him in the red zone, certain packages. And QB, like what are we doing at QB, guys? Will Aaron Rodgers sign with them? Sites, people are saying that they will. Who knows? You drafted Will Howard. Is he going to be is he going to compete for that QB1 role, or what about their backup last year, Mason Rudolph? We don't know. A lot of uncertainty at quarterback. Who's throwing the ball to who? I like their tight end. I like Fryermuth. He's good. They got a decent running back room. I like Jalen Warren. They got Kenneth Gainwell, and I like Caleb Johnson coming out of the draft. But I mean, all in all, you still got Arthur Smith as your offensive coordinator. Excuse me, and as having him as my head coach for 3 years, he's just not good personally. And honestly, the Steelers are only regressing. They're not going anywhere. Mike Tomlin's a very static dude. He's not really up. He's not one to change his scheme to fit modern NFL offenses and defenses. So I think they're going to fall off the most from a playoff team to probably picking somewhere in the top 10. And my pick, who I think is the most improved, I think a too obvious option would be the Bears. But instead, I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to go the Patriots. I really like the Patriots. I like how they drafted. I think they really got a young quarterback in Drake May. We got to see more out of them. They got a good running back room. They got Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, and Antonio Gibson. I like it. It's decent. They just signed Stephon Diggs. I think you're really signing more of the name than the player that he currently is. Uh, You got Kayshawn Booty, who's pretty underrated. I think him and um, their other receiver was one of Drake May's favorite targets. I think more so Booty was Drake May's favorite target, if I remember correctly.
Keyshawn?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
he threw to Keyshawn a lot, and he didn't
uh,
hit Jalen Polk that much. It was
no, which I'm still high on
a
Polk.
little short dude, the like 5'5", whoever that guy is. I can't
Yeah,
remember his name right now.
yeah, I can't either. But I mean, I think he's gonna be a good pick, or a good player. I love the old line that they have. Their defense, they went ahead and addressed the defense in free agency. Um, they got Milton. They signed Milton Williams, Harold Landry with that connection with Mike Vrabel. You also got Carlton Davis to help out with that secondary back there with Christian Gonzalez. You got Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar, who's more kind of an underrated safety room. They're not all that, but they're not the worst. They're a little bit better than average. So I do like their defense. I like
Mhm.
that D line they got. Linebackers are all right. But again, I love Mike Vrabel. I think he can do well with this team. I'm not sure much about McDaniels as their offensive coordinator. As long as Vrabel doesn't let them have too much control, I think they'll be fine. Uh, I don't know much about their defensive coordinator they got. His name was, I think, Terrell Williams. So if we get any Patriots fans, I mean, let me know if he's a good hire or not. I'm not entirely sure.
He's the
Um,
Titans guy. He was their linebacker coach or something like that.
oh, okay. So he kind of just poached him from the Titans.
He took his
All
guy from the
right.
Titans.
All right. Well, I mean, it could possibly be a good pick or a good hire. We'll see. In regards of playoff, they might not make a playoff. I think they will be competitive, and I think they will give teams hard times. And who knows? Maybe they might mess around and get a possible a 7 seed in the wild card. But yeah, those are my picks.
Okay, so we'll get into mine, and I want to preface this for anyone who watches. We develop our notes for these videos completely separately. We make our pick. We'll just write down the topics. We'll discuss if those are good topics, and then everything else completely separate. We make our picks for each topic. We make our points for each topic completely separately. So that's why I was kind of shocked whenever I looked at Ish's notes and I noticed, shit, we chose the exact same teams for the exact same things.
Yep.
So obviously, my pick for biggest fall off, Steelers. I know it's Mike Tomlin, and everyone ever is going to sit here and say it's Mike Tomlin. They're not going less than 9-8. I raise you. This QB situation is really damn bad. I mean, it's Will Howard and Mason Rudolph. I mean, if you got Skylar Thompson trotting out there, you're screwed. Just simple
Right.
as that.
Right.
And then your offensive line, they've spent how many first round picks in the last couple of years on that offensive line? And it still is average at
At
best.
best. At best.
And it's like, cool, you got Pat Freiermuth. He's more of a blocking tight end than anything else. He's a really good receiving tight end. It doesn't matter if you don't know who's getting him the ball. You got DK Metcalf, who you signed to a $150 million deal, but didn't have 1,000 yards last year. Yeah, he missed a couple of games. He still had Geno Smith throwing the ball to him, who's been like one of the kings of the deep pass the last couple of years. And then, will Aaron Rodgers sign? Probably. At this point, it's looking like it. He's got nowhere else to go. No one wants him. The Steelers are the only team that have any interest in him. The big question, the interesting question, is when will Aaron Rodgers sign?
I think training
How?
camp.
See, that's the thing. But how long is he going to have to develop chemistry with those receivers? To develop just a feel of the playbook? Is he even studying it? I mean, I know it's Arthur Smith, so he's going to run the ball into the ground. But I don't know. Anyway, messy QB situation. Your star players are all getting old. I mean, Cam Hayward's what, 34, 35? TJ Watt's 30, 32? Like, these are defensive linemen. These guys are ancient by that position standards. And TJ Watt, you've already had a couple of injuries start rearing its ugly head. I mean, once a player starts getting injured or he has like one serious injury, typically that's kind of like when they start going down. And I mean, on offense, you've got a bunch of unproven guys. DK Metcalf, he signed over 5 years and he's 27. And his whole thing is that he's a speed and physical receiver. Like, he ain't going to make it through that 5 year contract. I hate to tell you, Steelers fans. He ain't going to do it. And they're in a tough division. I mean, you're going in there with a maybe, probably Aaron Rodgers. And you're like, all right, 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, I want you to go compete against Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Good luck. Sorry, bud. You know, Joe Burrow's out there with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and you've got Lamar Jackson with like Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers, and you got his like and Derrick Henry. It's like, good luck. Have fun. Have fun with that Baltimore defense too. You know, the guys that are really known for smacking the ever living hell out of the quarterback. Like, he ain't gonna last. I don't think. I'd be shocked if they even sign Aaron Rodgers and he plays every game of the year. I mean, I don't think we'll have a Jet situation. He's just old, injury prone. That's all he is now. And of course, Arthur Smith is your OC. You cannot make me believe as Arthur Smith as an offensive coordinator. You trot him out there as your OC and you just hope to God that your defense holds him under 20 points. Arthur Smith can get you 21. He can get you 21 points.
That's it.
But if you get in a shootout like you'll probably get with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow in your division, you're screwed. You're not doing nothing. And then, of course, the Patriots. I will be riding so high with the Patriots this entire offseason until I actually see them play, and hopefully my propaganda for the Patriots actually works. I hope that it's real, because that would be so funny. We think they're dead and gone, and then there they are. They're right back. So their draft was awesome, in my opinion. I mean, you got Will Campbell at number 4. Dude, ESPN has his comp as Deion Dawkins, and it's like, man, if you get a Deion Dawkins level tackle, you're solid. Like, that is a really good offensive tackle. Then you upgrade the running back room. Tre'Davion Henderson, who I liked better than the other Ole Miss guy, drafted really high. This is a really bad look for me. Quinshon Judkins. So I liked him better than that. I was like, for me, it was Aston Genty, Omarion Hampton, Tre'Davion Henderson. That was my kind of running back ranking. And then Kyle Williams. Dude's a speed freak. He's going to go downfield. You can throw him the ball up and he's going to grab it. Like, I like that with Drake May, because Drake May really likes to just uncork it and throw that thing down the field and just hope to God one of his teammates is going to get under it. And then Jared Wilson, great developmental guy. You know, they've got Braden Swinson. Mark my words, Braden Swinson will be a week 1 edge rusher starter for the Patriots. Mike Vrabel is going to make that guy great. And then their free agency, Stephon Diggs, you know, good safety blanket, I think, is what he's going to end up being for Drake May. It's just going to be, oh, hey, Stephon Diggs is running that short route right there. Boop. Hit him. Just hope to God that he doesn't die whenever he gets hit. And then you're going to have, you got Hunter Henry, you know, average tight end, maybe, possibly, maybe a bit below average. And then you got Garrett Bradbury at center, who is below average center, and that's why he got let go at such a young age. Because, frankly, he's just... He's aight. He's maybe top 20 center in the league. Starting center.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
you can probably stretch that to top 25, honestly. But having that is better than what they had last year. Well, kind of. Their other center was just old, very old. And Morgan Moses at right tackle,
Yeah.
I'm not the most impressed by, but I think he'll be a good enough caliber of a player to be better than whatever the hell that was that they threw out there last year. And then Harold Landry, of course, bring that dude back in. Get him back to Mike Vrabel, and maybe he's still 28, which is not young but not old. So maybe just needs that Mike Vrabel secret sauce, and that's all. And then he'll get back to what he was. Like I said, Carlton Davis, all those guys. Just the biggest addition, Mike Vrabel. That dude is going to take that defense to another level. And it's going to be like the days of Belichick for the Patriots, where it's just like Belichick's trotting out mailmen out there on the defense and still clamping up the top receivers in the game, beating the best offensive lines, just having one of the best defenses with a bunch of random people or people that you thought were old and washed. That's what it's going to be, in my opinion. All right. So our next topic here is what rookie QB will have the best year. Now, this isn't the best year to have that topic because it's there's like 3 that are probably or that have any chance of starting week 1.
Yeah.
And 1 that is a definite starter week 1. So let's hear it, Ish.
All right. Before we get into that, though, I just want to say I'm surprised you didn't say you're a big booty guy yourself, man. Big LSU guy. I'm surprised you didn't say you're big, because I'm a big booty guy. I'm high on him, But anyway,
I also watched his downfall at LSU. I watched his rise and then him just go crashing back into the ground.
Hey, yeah. But anyways, moving on. So all right, which rookie QB would be good? Or quarterback? Man, I mean, like you said, it's kind of hard to pick one. There's not really many options for starting quarterbacks that are going to be starting for rookies this coming year. But I gotta say, and this is a big if, like a really big if, between weeks 1 through 5, if Jackson Dart is a starter, mark my words, he will be the man. He will be up there for offensive rookie of the year. He's gonna be putting up numbers. I like Jackson Dart. Great weapons, playmaker. He's accurate. He's got a good arm. Anyways, that's it. It's a big if. Moving on. That said, my pick is actually Cam Ward. Funny enough. I mean, he's the only guaranteed. He's only guaranteed week 1 starter, man. Like, what do you expect from me, dog? There ain't much, man. It ain't damn well gonna be Quinn Ewers, but had to throw that in there. But yeah, no, I mean Cam Ward's great. I like their line. They got some good weapons that they can rely on. I mean, they also signed as a undrafted free agent in Restrepo, which they got that connection there. I mean, Calvin Ridley's still decently all right. He's all right, but I mean, reliable vet receiver. They got good running backs. I like who they got. Tony Pollard and that other guy I'm blanking on from Tulane.
Oh, Tyjae Spears.
Yeah. I like that running back room. I think it's a good combination. I mean, even though I think they're both speedy guys anyway, I don't think any of them's really but I still like it. And then I like their draft. They got Cam Ward, then they got Oladejo from UCLA. Edge rusher was pretty good. They got Gunnar Helm in the 3rd round, decent tight end. It's better than
ran a
what they're throwing
5-second
out
40
there.
on whatever the hell that ankle was, man.
Yeah,
I don't know how he ran that fast with an ankle about the size of a watermelon.
Yeah, no, it was insane. And they got, honestly, one of my favorite receivers coming out the draft in Alec Ayomanor. I really did like him coming out of Stanford. He was pretty good. I mean, he torched Travis Hunter when they played.
Yeah, I'm hoping we all don't have that thought stuck in our head. Everyone who watches football as much as we do will remember that game. Colorado versus Stanford. Colorado got up, what, 27-3?
Yeah.
And then in the second half, IU Manor erased it on his own, put up like 200 something yards, 2 to 3 touchdowns on Travis Hunter.
Yeah, it was insane. Dude was putting up numbers that game. And then also, obviously, Kevin Winston was a great pick. Good safety out of Penn State. Penn State always produced good defensive players. Can't really hate the pick for where they got him at, too. But yeah, no, I think Cam Ward's good. He's got great pre-snap recognition. We've seen he has a big arm. He's very mobile and a playmaker, and he can read his progressions. He can read from left to right or right to left, however they have him reading his progressions. Although I want to see some improvement with his footwork. He is very lackadaisical with the football. I want to see more security with the ball. I want to see him slow the game down, really. I feel like he kind of sped it up on himself, especially in those situations where he was in scramble mode. He kind of just threw the ball up, whoever was out there. He said, fuck it, Restrepo down there somewhere, just eat that ball up. And honestly, I want to see a lot less scrambling back in the pocket. He did a lot of north and south scrambling, which isn't good, it's what defenses want. You want to see them scramble north and south. You don't want to see them scramble from...
for some reason.
Yeah. You don't want to see them scramble from east to west because they can make plays that way. And Cam Ward has a big tendency of scrambling south. But also a better red zone percentage too. In college, he had like a 39% completion percentage in the red zone. But I think if they can fix those, I think Cam Ward will be good.
Yep. Okay, so my pick, again, this is hinging on him being the starter because he's currently in a QB battle as we speak.
I just want to say this is a biased pick.
This is where the Saints propaganda starts, okay? This is where it starts because I don't think there's any way Jackson Dart starts anywhere in the first half of the year. No way. He's young. He's not that developed. He's coming from Ole Miss. I watched him play LSU in person. And let me tell you, I remember that game perfectly. But, so it's Tyler Shough is my pick. If he beats out Spencer Rattler, this is all hinged on that. If he doesn't, then I default to Cam Ward and just use his talking points because I didn't want to be boring. I wanted to have an interesting selection.
Hey man, I wasn't trying to be boring either. I'm a realist, all right? I'm trying to be realistic.
He's not trying to be boring. It's just our options are limited. Very limited.
In this year's draft class for quarterback.
Yes. So Tyler Shough, if the offensive line pick at number 9 with Kelvin Banks Jr. works out, right now it's looking like it's going to be Banks, Penning, McCoy, Ruiz, Fuaga. Fuaga had a great rookie year at left tackle. Not a Joe Alt kind of year, but, what you'd expect from a first-round rookie tackle who's on a good path, essentially. So you're going to have that offensive line. Chris Olave, one of the easiest schedules in the league. Tyler Shough, with Kellen Moore as his offensive coordinator. If we get Dallas Cowboys Kellen Moore or Eagles Kellen Moore and not Chargers Kellen Moore, then Tyler Shough is going to be going. He's going to be cooking because I think everyone's always like, oh, what about being a system QB? Man, I don't care. If they're a system QB, if they work good in the system that they're in. That's a slight shade thrown at Brock Purdy haters, by the way.
I'm one of them. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
It doesn't matter if you're a good fit for the system and you play good within the system. I don't care. So Tyler Shough, he's got a pretty good arm. Not great. You just got to hope that he gets better at, his pass rush dealing with those situations. He panics a bit under pressure. But it's so weird. It's like a coin flip with him whenever he gets under pressure. Because some of the best plays you see on his highlights are him scrambling under pressure. And then his worst plays are also him scrambling under pressure. Like, you see some where he just throws a beautiful deep ball down to one of those guys at Louisville. And with us both being, Texas Tech alumni, we had the great pleasure of watching him in person for a couple of years here.
I wouldn't say great pleasure, but it was a pleasure for sure.
It was interesting. It was interesting to see. If you had told me then that guy was going to be a second-round draft pick and play for my favorite team, I would have called you absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But here's to hoping. This is more a projection from me to him. Please, Shuck. You saved us from Derek Carr. Just save us from being, either be really good or be really ass. I don't care. Just either get us the first overall pick or get us into the playoffs. Just choose one. Okay. Now we're going to get into second year player leaps. So a guy that got drafted last year who either had a bad, rough, or mediocre first year who can make that jump into being like maybe not quite stardom, but like Pro Bowl at least.
All right. So not gonna lie, I kind of misread this question at first. I thought you were referring to quarterbacks only. So I did
I
my
did
based
notice
off
that.
quarterback.
I did notice.
So I'm gonna go with my bias pick now, and I think the second year player who's gonna make that leap is
You're gonna
gonna
make this
be
pick anyway.
Michael
Don't lie to
Penix Jr.
yourself. You're gonna make this pick either way. It didn't matter how you read the question. This is going to be the pick no matter what.
It was. I'm a big Penix fan. Coming out of college, when I watched him play 2 years ago, before the year before he got drafted, when I was watching him play at Washington, that undefeated season, I was literally telling everyone that right there is a future Falcons player. At the time of the pick, granted, I wasn't the happiest.
No.
Pick.
We got to tell the story of this draft. We have to. So, whenever the draft happens, was last year the first time me and you did it together?
No.
It was when Penix or no.
It was the year before Penix.
That was the first time me and you watched the draft together?
Oh wait, no, because the year before Penix.
The year before Penix, we were separate.
Yeah. You're right. No, you're right.
I did it on my own with some friends, and you did it on your own. With
Yeah. So it was last year.
Yeah.
Last year.
So every year we'll get together. We like to play a little game. Being college students has got to involve alcohol. We like
of
to
age,
take
of course.
Of age. We're both of age, and it'll be you try to guess the draft pick for the first round. You miss it, you take a shot. I think it was at the beginning of the draft or whenever the Falcons pick first came up, because the entire night he was talking about Latu or Dallas Turner right there, number 8. We got him locked in. Don't you worry.
Yep.
And either at the beginning or whenever the Falcons first got their pick, I don't remember which, I looked at him and I was like, could you imagine Falcons walk up there? Michael Penix Jr.
It was before the draft. It was before the draft started when I got there. You're like, imagine the pick will be Michael Penix. I said, nah. You're smoking crack. Nah.
And then, of course, it comes up there. There was like, what, 4, 5 of us there?
Yeah. Something like that.
Not a single one of us picked Michael Penix to be drafted by the Falcons. And then, of course, he is. And it was a great week for me because I was sitting there just laughing at Ish for about a week.
I mean, yeah, at the time, at that moment in time, it was a very questionable pick. I mean, eventually I got the last laugh now because they got Tyler Shough in the second round. So, but anyways, but I mean, it turned out to be a decent pick after the whole Kirk Cousins fiasco, not disclosing his injury, but that's beside the point anyways. So yeah. So that there's your pre-context to the Michael Penix Jr. pick. I guess you get what you wish for, and I was wishing for him all season long up until the draft come. So, But anyways, yeah, so I think that's my player to make that leap. He was 1-2 in those first 3 games, but I don't think you can blame those losses on him specifically. He led those last 2 games, week 17 and week 18. The second game, week 17, Sunday night, right, his first ever primetime game, first ever road game, against the Commanders, who, as we've seen, were a really good team last season.
Mm-hmm.
He led a game-tying drive on 4th and goal through a dot to Kyle Pitts. Tie the game. Even led us a almost game-winning drive if it wasn't for a kicker at the time. And granted, he did all this with little chemistry, with only, at this point, this was his second week working with the ones on the team, and he was able to do all that. Again, his only 2 losses came in overtime where the Falcons never touched the ball. So you can't really blame those losses on him, in my opinion. That's just me. I mean, he had a 61% completion rate with 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Again, I blame it on the lack of chemistry. Really, if you watch the film on those plays, it was from a lack of chemistry. One of them though was on Kyle Pitts' fault. That should not have been picking that Giants game. The other two were just lack of chemistry and route running. But I mean, he's able to complete tight throws. He has good placement, and for the injuries that he had, he's still mobile and he can move around the pocket. We saw him do that last season in those 3 games when the pocket collapsed. He was able to move out the pocket and throw on the run and threw a dot. It was amazing. I mean, he's only mobile when he needs to be, and I like that. And I think with the full offseason, he'll be one of the better QBs in the NFC.
Well, that's not very hard to do, honestly.
No, it's not, but there you go.
You don't got a lot to pick from. So I was split on mine. So I have the boring choice, which is Caleb Williams, which you're getting hammered over the head with everywhere. Yeah. Everyone's saying Caleb Williams, buy his stock, buy his stock, buy his stock.
Even fantasy.
Even fantasy. So I'm going to go with one a bit more under the radar that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. Dallas Turner for the Minnesota Vikings. He had a rough first year. Very rough, some might say. He was injured for a bit. I think he was injured for a lot of training camp.
I think he was even placed. He was injured for 4 weeks at least. He was placed on the injured reserve list. I'm pretty sure.
But he had 12 tackles, 3 sacks. He had a pick somehow. I don't remember him getting an interception. And then I looked at his stats. I was like, wait, hold up.
Probably a garbage time play, but still counts.
But I like the Vikings with Brian. I think Brian Flores is going to get him right. Honestly, you got Andrew Van Ginkel there. You know, got to get the Ginkle. But so he's going to have time to develop. He's not supposed to be like the guy right now, even. And it takes time for these guys to, you know, learn and develop and get stuff right. He has the traits. He has every trait you want to see for a speedy, powerful edge rusher. Now, would I have taken him at 17? Probably not. I would have taken Jared Verse at 17, just because I'm a big fan of the power rusher guys. But he's not bad. I think you're going to see him kind of really, with a full off season, with a full training regimen, everything. I think he's going to get acclimated. And plus, it's the Vikings. It's just recently, it feels like the Vikings just don't miss on their picks.
They picked Lewis Cine in one of those drafts in the last pick of the draft.
2022, yeah, but that Lewis Cine also broke his leg his rookie year.
Yeah, but I mean, they also let him go to begin with, in general.
I would say breaking your leg is probably going to hinder your development more than a little bit.
Yeah.
And they have more hits than misses by a long shot. Is that the better way of saying that?
Mark my words, JJ McCarthy will be a miss.
I don't think so. I think he'll be one of the better ones.
We'll see. We'll see.
Anyways. I feel like this quarterback draft is just going to be hit after hit after hit. Or that last year quarterback draft is just hits. It
was pretty stacked, so.
Because I think McCarthy can at least have a Bo Nix type season at some point in his career. Maybe not this upcoming year, but yeah. I mean, I think he can reach what Bo Nix did, which is still a absolutely amazing rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, never doubt Kevin O'Connell, so there's that.
Oh no, that's the thing. You give KOC, and he's KOC's guy, so you can't forget that.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner, he's got the weapons. I watched him at Alabama because, you know, LSU fan. I'm gonna watch Alabama. Well, and I'm also I like college football, so I'm gonna. You can't go a college football season without watching Alabama play at least once or twice.
No. That's
always going to happen. So I watched him. I remember whenever he knocked Jaden Daniels out in a game. Now, to be fair, that made a lot of LSU fans, including me, angry. Because I remember watching the slow-mo, the helmet coming up underneath the chin. But he's a good player. There's a reason why he got picked 17. He had 1 year in the league as an edge rusher, and he's 22. That dude is actually Oh my god, that dude is scarily close to my age.
He is your age, bud. You're
No,
old.
he was born February 2nd, 2003.
Oh god.
We're almost the exact same age. Damn. Yeah, I have high hope. He's back.
All right.
He's
All right.
back.
My bad, folks. My bad.
All
Technical
right.
difficulties. That'll happen. It's the first episode, guys. Give me some slack.
First episode, second take.
Hey, man, just give me some slack.
Yes. Okay, so real quick, I don't know. It's a bit long of an episode. You want to just end it off here, and then we'll talk about our teams and whatnot in the next one?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Sorry about those technical difficulties we had there at the end. Like I said, we'd appreciate it if we could get some slack cut towards us. We just started. We're not really too knowledgeable about however technology works yet. And thank y'all very much. Hope you enjoy, and we got many more episodes to come.
Yep.
This
Like
is
and
goodbye.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe. This is a goodbye from Chalk Talk.